Taking a look at the AFC standings right now, and of course the Patriots, the first team in the National Football League to 11 wins this season. They lead the way in the AFC 11-2 in that one spot. The Denver Broncos pulled out an overtime win the night before, so they're sitting there at 10-2. You have the Jags at 8-4. The Baltimore Ravens, who look like a shell of themselves right now. Certainly Lamar Jackson does, dealing with some injuries, but gosh, it's been impossible for him to find the end zone, and it's been tough for the Baltimore Ravens really throughout the season. They're sitting there at 6-6. They are the leaders in their division. So that's what it looks like at this point in time. Of course, on the outside looking in, you have the Houston Texans and that defense. You have the Kansas City Chiefs, who we are all so used to, being in the playoffs, heck, being in the Super Bowl as they have been for the last 3 seasons. Will they find a way in? Colin, I don't know if you heard this, but Andy Reid saying that they are going to tickle the tonsils of their opponents in the coming weeks, which I thought was an interesting one from Coach Reid there. But you start to look at the schedule here and the Patriots' chances to wind up with that all-important 1 seed, because you get the bye, and that obviously proves fruitful to any team, at that juncture in the season when everybody is dealing with injuries. Nobody is fully healthy. Here's what the road ahead looks like for the Patriots. They have the bye this week, and then things continue with the Bills, who will be in Foxborough. Then they go on the road to take on the Ravens and the Jets, and then they finish at home against the Dolphins. If we kind of compare and contrast that with Denver, for instance, right, who's sitting there at 10-2 in the win column. Here's the road ahead for the Denver Broncos. They play at the Raiders this weekend. We all know that has just been nothing short of a disaster in Las Vegas this season. But then they have to take on the Green Bay Packers. They have to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. They have to play at Kansas City. And yes, I know that the Broncos came back and beat them this season, but Kansas City has to basically run the table for the rest of their schedule in order to be in. So if they've done that to that point in week 17, that's a hugely significant game for Denver. And then they finish against the Los Angeles Chargers. So you could see, I don't think it'll come to this, but you could see, 2-3, maybe 1-4. I mean, it's not crazy. Yeah. Just those numbers with what the Denver Broncos have ahead of them.
Yeah, Jade, this Broncos schedule is really brutal. And I'll say this, the Broncos are a 10-2 team. They've won some big games. The defense is great, full of superstars. I don't know if this is a good offense. I just don't. There's no way to know if they're good or if they're bad because they're so unbelievably inconsistent week in and week out. They dropped only 10 points, 10 against the Raiders in Thursday Night Football a couple of weeks ago in one of the most unwatchable games that I've ever tried and sat down and watched. Anyone who watched that game in full should be entitled to financial compensation. I'm talking about myself, obviously. But, come on, I don't know if this is a good offense. I know that they're a clutch offense. I know that Bo Nix can be a fantastic quarterback in spurts and bursts that he has so far this season. That fourth quarter against the Giants, of course, was miraculous. The first 3 quarters were a disaster for Bo Nix and the Broncos. So if this Broncos team could put together 60 minutes on offense like the Patriots have really done all season long, then yeah, they're going to be a powerhouse. We just haven't seen that so far this season. They got taken down to the wire by Marcus Mariota and the Washington Commanders. And Mariota's a good QB. He's a backup QB. The Commanders have the Swiss cheese defenses of all Swiss cheese defenses, and it took the Broncos till the final play of the game to beat them. So I don't think this Broncos offense is for real. I've been watching Bo Nix all season. I think he's a good quarterback that has his spurts of greatness. I think he's just far too inconsistent to make a deep playoff run right now. You contrast that with Drake May, who's been the emblem of consistency all season long, has cleaned up some of those early turnover troubles. He's sharp in the pocket. He makes the right decisions. He doesn't force the ball down the field like Bo Nix has so far this season. And so I just don't believe in the Broncos. I don't buy into them. I think that this is a facade of a 10-2 team right now. They've won a lot of these games in their winning stretch by 5 points or less, by 10 points or less. They've won a lot of these games on the final play against teams that they really should be dominating. The Giants and the Raiders and the Commanders, like I said. I don't think this Broncos team is for real. I think the Patriots are much, much better than them. And you look at the rest of the competition in the AFC, the Colts were the other team that was kind of talked about as maybe they could rival the Patriots. If Jonathan Taylor's not running for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns, the Colts lose. That's just what's happened this season. They're 1-4 when Jonathan Taylor doesn't score. The quarterback has a broken leg. It's like
he's a broken leg. I mean,
it's unbelievable.
I give him credit that he's playing on it, right? I mean, you know, he's out there and he's playing when you talk about Daniel Jones, but you can't tell me that that's not having some kind of impact on him. And obviously, you know, the Texans overtook them last weekend, and now it's the Jags who are, you know, the leaders in the division. And you look at the Jags schedule. I mean, I'll say this about the Colts real fast. Like, if they wind up missing the playoffs after the way they started, oh gosh, and the moves that they made, like that is going to be rough. But, you know, look, I mean, they got to face each other twice this weekend. And this is the Jags perspective, right? Then they get the Jets. Then they have to go to Denver to take on the Broncos. Then they have to go to Indy to take on the Colts, and they close against the Titans. So, I mean, that division can go a number of different ways, but let me tell you, like, the Colts schedule is not any easier, right? Like, Jags, Seahawks, 49ers, and then they close against the Texans again. And of all those teams, like, the team that I might not want to face the most, it might be the Texans.
Yeah,
because their defense
I'm in lockstep.
Is
I'm in lockstep. Yeah,
legit. Like, their defense is it's off the charts. Like, give D'Amico Ryans a lot of credit.
And we talk about teams that you don't want to see in that first round, and why it's so essential that the Patriots get this bye week and the first overall seed is because they could see the Texans in the first round of the playoffs. They could very well see the Bills or the Chiefs in the first round of the playoffs, and that's why you get that bye week, you get a rung on the ladder, you only got to win 1 to get to the Final Four, win 2 to get to the Super Bowl, right? And teams that you do want to see, I would love to see the Colts in the playoffs. I don't think this Colts team, if Jonathan Taylor's not running well, is going to be a threat. Sauce Gardner's week to week right now with a calf injury. Maybe he's going to be limited down the line. We mentioned Daniel Jones is playing on one leg, and this is a Colts team that is probably going to lose to the Jaguars this coming week, and we're going to answer a lot more questions about that division. But you look at the AFC, Jade, I don't see any teams that could pose a legitimate threat to the Patriots right now. Things can change down the line. Playoffs is a different animal. Drake May hasn't been tested in that realm yet. But we're talking about right now, the current AFC playoff picture. Patriots, far and away, the most complete team, the most dominant team offensively, the sharpest team defensively, and the best coach team of this bunch as well, with the best quarterback to boot. So Patriots are in a really great spot right now. It's going to be great for them to kind of see all these teams clash against each other, see what happens there. The Colts with that big game against the Jags. And, of course, we talked about the Broncos and the Raiders, the team that gave them fits last time. So it's going to be a fun week of football for the Patriots just to sit back, relax, and let the fireworks happen, and they can rest up.
Yeah, no, it's the truth. I mean, I think it'll be very interesting because you talk about Kansas City and how are they going to close this season? Like, I'm sorry, but like, it's sort of, you're never going to just go against Andy Reid and Mahomes. I just don't think you can. And no one's ready to count him out at this point in time. But obviously that division is in a very different place. Let's just real quick look at the road ahead for Baltimore here, because they're sitting there at 6-6. And they're not alone, right, at this point in time when you talk about their division, but this is their road ahead. They have the Steelers. That's obviously a huge game this weekend between the two of them, because they're both sitting there at 6-6. Then they take on the Bengals, who have Joe Burrow back, and then, of course, New England, and then they go to Green Bay, and then they finish at Pittsburgh. I don't even know how many wins you're going to need. I don't even know if you're going to have to be above 500 to win that division. I'm not convinced of that at this point in time. And I would say this, like if you have an unhealthy Lamar, which you've had for the past several weeks, they've looked like a shell of themselves. And this is all like right now because things change so fast in this league. But maybe the Patriots win over Cincinnati actually looks a little bit better now. They might be the most dangerous team to take on in the playoffs if they can actually find their way into winning the division.
Yeah, the rest of the league, I think, is counting their blessings that this Bengals team was 3-8 when Joe Burrow got back healthy because they look legit. Burrow looked legit. The Ravens looked unwatchable in that Thanksgiving night game. That was a really tough one, and you just hope Lamar is going to find a way to be fully healthy at some point this season if you're a Ravens fan. But, man, like, that was tough. And Joe Burrow coming back from that injury and dicing them up like he hadn't missed a step was pretty impressive to see. This Bengals team is... Somehow they sneak in. I don't know if it's possible mathematically, but I think they have like a 6% chance. They could be dangerous somehow.
Yeah, stranger things have happened. The parody of this game is part of the greatness of this game. There's no question about that.